When you realize that you have people working for you that are there just to make money and not in it for like the long haul, and then they start showing their true colors about how they really do not like you, you start to reevaluate, like, why are you doing this? You know? And for me, it was because I wanted to do it because I cared.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast, where we uncover the secrets of success and share the wisdom of exceptional individuals. I'm your host, William Gomez, and as a real estate professional, I bring you insights from the world of real estate and beyond. Join me as I engage in captivating conversations with incredible guests from diverse backgrounds and industries, from top real estate moguls to trailblazing entrepreneurs and influencers. We dive into the mindsets and habits of successful people. If you love what you hear, don't forget to rate and review. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and enlightened. Live life today on Willpower.
In my drinking, like I just didn't know how to stop. Like I would like get started and I would just go straight to drunk, like really super quick. But therapy was very helpful, like going and seeing a therapist, being on the right medications, like making an adjustment in like my life and like how I was living it and the people surrounding me. That was very crucial into, maintaining, my abstinence from alcohol. And I think if you're making that change, you have to want to do it. And then also too, you've got to know that like life is going to change. Like you can't expect the results to be the same thing. Expect things to be different without making any changes out of it. That's like, the definition of insanity. Yeah, it's repetition. So,
well, you still seem to be having a good time. I remember you posting some stuff about the Red Ribbon Gala?
Yeah.
You were just partying it up.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Like I've gone to, and those events I would get so drunk. I'm talking about like crazy. I remember going to one event and then we did I think 4 or 5 vodka shots.
back to back or
just throughout the night and then mixing a bunch of other alcohols and everything. And that's a lot for me.
Yeah.
And
did you used to get the Asian flush and everything?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. My throat wouldn't literally close up. Like my throat. Shoot. Yeah. I was like, I couldn't even breathe. And so I remember my friend, her walking me into the men's restroom and I'm running to the stall and I'm holding down my bow tie and puking in the toilet, and I was like, all right, let's go back out. But now it's going to events now, sober. It's you just have to kind of know when to cut off and just be like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Yeah. That I was like, it's time to pull out that line. But yeah, no, Red Ribbon. I've got this will be my 9th one,
and are you a host or something? What are you this year?
I'm chairing the event.
Okay.
And it benefits Tulsa Cares.
You and who else? Somebody else?
Yeah, right? Shauna Burrows. She is one of my really good friends, but also too my hair and makeup artist for photo shoots. And
okay.
She we have a great working relationship, and it's been really fun to chair this with her. And we're both visual people. So, the event is the biggest non-negotiable for us was it has to be visually impactful, that there is a lot of photo ops and that, people are going to walk in and just be blown away. And, it's all to benefit Tulsa Cares, which provides, social services for those affected with HIV, Hep C, and AIDS. And our fundraising goal is we're trying to hit over 1 million this year. So it's a daunting task to.
What did you guys do last year?
They did 1.3 million. And so our fundraising goal was 1 million. And that was the first year they did over $1 million.
What was the goal?
Usually our fundraising goal is to do at least 850,000 to 900,000. But last year they really went out and just knocked it out of the park. And so,
all of that money stays here in Tulsa for people that are impacted in Tulsa?
Yes. So the population of those affected with HIV and AIDS and Hep C right now, and
TLP, right?
TLP is not a disease. That's William's horrible domain name for me for my new branding.
Sure. But the population,
the population is right now currently the most impacted are low income individuals and a lot of homeless, as well as we're seeing a surge in like women being affected, and a lot of the younger population, just because of a lack of education around it too. And so Tulsa Cares is able to provide medical assistance, like doctors visits, a nutritionist to help, and a dietitian to help with food, a housing program, mental health. I mean, it's basically the one-stop shop for someone who needs help. And I recently met with an HIV positive client of theirs who has been HIV positive for over 20 years. She has been a client for over 17 years and was able to live a healthy, non-detectable life, married, and have children, and no one, contracted HIV from her. Wow. And so that's how much modern medicine has been able to kind of change things around HIV, because it used to be back in the day, and I think a lot of people still have the stigma that it's a death sentence.
Yeah,
and it's more of a chronic illness, like having like diabetes.
Well, was it like back in the 80s or 90s, whenever Magic Johnson was the one that the only person that kind of like seemed to survive it?
Yeah,
and now it seems like a lot of the stories are a lot more common.
Yeah, you see people having a longer lifespan and just living more positively. It's I remember being a teenager. I actually remember being like a little kid and discovering the story of Ryan White, who was someone who was relatively close in age to me, who contracted AIDS through a blood transfusion, I think, for in a routine like surgery or something, and just the impact of knowing that like this is not, it was looked at as a gay man's disease, or a punishment or a death sentence, to the gay community, and now it's literally anyone's affected by it. Yeah. And so for me, being involved with an organization that's in, giving hope to someone who feels hopeless, and also to kind of, minimizing and erasing the stigma around it. It really means a lot to me. And I don't know, I love working with nonprofits, especially if there's something that, we live in such a crazy world right now, and I think there's a lot of hopelessness.
Yeah.
And to be able to be a part of something that gives someone hope or a new chance in life, I really enjoy it. It's something that means a lot to me.
That's good, man. Well, I'm excited to hear how it goes this year.
No, you're going.
Hey,
yeah,
I haven't gotten the invite, so I was just waiting for it.
Well, yes, we need your sponsorship. You should go. You would have so much fun. It's like the biggest party. It's like
I think it was shortly around the time. I think maybe it was Shanice.
I love her.
She's been on here, and I think I was like I was like in contact with her around the time, and I think I saw a bunch of like social media pictures and stuff around.
Oh, okay.
It looked awesome. Yeah.
So that means I need to hit up Shanice, and we're gonna tag team hard on getting you to go.
Is it the same place, Cox?
Yeah, it's at the Cox. It's on March 16th.
Dude, I had never been into that place until I went and picked up my packet for the half marathon I just ran, and it's like a really nice place.
It's amazing.
I never knew that.
They put a lot of investment in revamping it, but it's a fun event. I think you and your wife would enjoy it. You should just do a corporate sponsorship and have your whole team go and just have a good time and, support a good cause and look dapper as fuck.
Yeah, send me some info on it, and I'd love to go. It looks like a super, and the people that I saw there too. There's a lot of like mutual people that I knew, so it looks awesome.
Yes. So if Will doesn't go, that means he lied. That means you should stop listening to this podcast. Oh,
I think Nate knows the parts to like edit out.
He's over there just playing. He's playing like, what was it? Words with Friends over in the background. And he's just like, I'm just letting everything roll, and I'm just gonna edit all this crap out later.
Dude, so whenever you and I met, you took my photos. It was back in 2000 and what was it? 2000 and was it right after COVID or right before?
It was like in the middle of it.
So it was like 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had told me that, you weren't really doing you were doing different projects on that within your company. So what do you kind of foresee in the next few years with what you're doing?
That's, you were asking some really good questions. Cause I'm like, you caught me off guard. These are heavy thinking questions. I spent so much time, I think right around the time that, I did photos with you, I was in this mindset and mentality. I want to grow my business. I want to have, a huge team. I want to, eventually be kind of like an agency status kind of thing. And this year, a lot of it changed. I had to part ways with some of my team members, and then kind of like scale back and figure out what I wanted. Because I got to the point where I was hustling to make money to essentially just make sure that I'm I can take care of myself and my family, but then also to like, take care of my assistants as well. But you start to learn a lot. This is going to be pretty bad when you realize that you have people working for you that are there just to make money and not in it for like the long haul. And then they start showing their true colors about how they really do not like you. You start to reevaluate, like, why are you doing this? And for me, it was because I wanted to do it because I cared.
Yeah.
I cared about my team. I cared about the people working for me. I wanted them to feel rewarded. I wanted them to feel like this was like the best working atmosphere. And it was a huge punch in the face when, trust is broken, but then also too, you see people's true colors. And so I started from scratch basically this summer. And
do you think that had a lot to do with you being sober as well?
No, I don't think that had anything to do with my sobriety. I think that more or less it was kind of like, I came from a work atmosphere where you worked really hard for recognition. And I felt like I always constantly was working hard and getting nowhere. And so I think it was a lot of my fault of like working in an atmosphere or creating a work atmosphere where you were constantly rewarding your team members to the point that, those nice little things became expectations. And so the thank yous came less, and the
demands.
Yeah, it just became more of like, it just became a not fun working atmosphere.
Yeah.
But then also too, I think when you're, it's like when you don't set expectations in a work environment and you let your assistants start dating each other and then they tag team against you. I think that makes things really difficult. And so
Managing people's fun, right?
it is so fun. Let me tell you, it's like pouring salt on your eyeballs. But this time around,
Sounds like a TLP side effect.
yes. Do you struggle with TLP?
I can't get that out of my head.
Oh my gosh, when I send my Christmas cards out this year, I'm gonna write that in yours.
And soon enough, that will be your new thing.
Yeah.
The Tony Lee project.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Everyone's gifts are placebos.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, you went 11 years or 10 years or so working in retail, and then you've been doing Tony Lee project for 20 years. So you've been doing it by itself for about 10 years. What was it that made you take the leap and say, hey, I don't need this guaranteed salary anymore. I trust myself that that I'm going to make it by myself. Like what triggered that?
That actually goes back to the last question. When I felt like all the hard work was for nothing. And I started, I was working so hard because I cared about
The hard work at the retail or
hard work, like, within my business,
within your business, okay.
Doing it for your team members and for all of us to cross the finish line together. That was the mentality that I had, when I was working in retail, because like it was, I looked at it as like, my team, we're all going to work together really hard. I'm going to work extra hard. So we're all crossing that finish line. But there was an incident where I kind of realized when, people's true feelings kind of came out, and I was made to feel like all the hard work was for nothing. They didn't care. And when you feel that way, when you start to realize that, or you start feeling that way, it really makes you lose motivation. The morale just like went down, and I struggled with wanting to like stay on and quit. And so I ended up quitting my job because I felt like I just needed to get out. And the first year of being on my own was more like an extended vacation. So I just trickled a little bit of work here and there. And then, then my mom had a massive heart attack, which changed my life, wait, is today the 5th? Yeah.
It is,
so it's 10 years on this day. Yeah. Wow. That she had a massive heart attack, and that changed my perspective on things.
How long had it been since you had left your job and you were on
It was a few months.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, at that time, I wasn't financially in a place. I mean, I remember going to a Christmas dinner with a few friends and having like $200 in my bank account. I couldn't even afford the dinner. And I just remember my friends being like, getting me gifts, and I was having a hard time, because I spent so much time in the hospital with my mom, and then I was just like, I got to go back to work. So I went back to my old job, and stayed there. I knew the first day I went back, I was just like, I made the worst decision possible, and I was like, stick it out for 3 months. If you don't like it, then leave. And so I kind of worked it out that I was working 4 days a week, and then I had 3 days to myself that I could go and, still do photography stuff. And so I was like super hustling at that point. And after the 3 months of being back at work, I was like, all right, my old position was open. They offered it back to me, and they were like, you'll get everything back, your salary and your benefits and everything, your PTO. And I was like, can I think about it? And they were like, wait, why are you thinking about it? It's like your old job. And I was like, I need to think about it. And then I was like, I think that moment kind of made me realize, I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, if I'm doing, I'm putting in like 60 hours of sweat equity for a company that, undervalues what I'm doing for them at the time, because I still love the brand. But like now I was like, why don't I just put all that effort into what I'm doing for myself? And so I went from working 60 hours a week to now working 24/7.
But this second go around was a completely different story.
Oh
it sounds
yeah,
like.
the second go around was like, I'm gonna hustle. I'm gonna put a lot of energy into work. I'm gonna reach out and like essentially like cold calling, like new clients and pumping out new work and trying new things. And it kind of fell in that the definition of insanity is repetition. I was just like, if I'm constantly repeating the same thing over and expecting different results, it's not going to happen. So I ended up changing things up and shaking it up. And then from there on, I haven't gone back to a 9 to 5. I've just been on my own.
Man. Well, hopefully that motivates some people. And normally at the end, I like to ask, what's the best advice? But I think you've said it 2 or 3 times, and it is, if you guys are expecting, new results, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again, I mean, you're just going around in circles, and you're never going to get out of that rut. So
yeah, I would say also like, yes, like, don't repeat things expecting different expectations. But I think the thing that I would probably end off on this is be a good person and put your ego aside. And it's like, I think that's like the ego and not being a good person are like the biggest downfalls of anybody, relationship wise, because you don't want to burn a bridge. You want to build that bridge across. But
that's so good, man. Well, thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah.
And where can people find you?
They can find me.
Or where can they find your baby pictures? The tlp.com?
So for more of my work, you can visit www.thetonyleeproject.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at the Tony Lee Project. And yes,
that wasn't pre-recorded, by the way.
I know. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at rehearsing those things. No. Okay. Before we end this, I've done a few podcasts, and I always like to flip the script, and I like to ask the host a few questions.
There you go.
I know. And I was like, as he's over there and he's playing on his phone, so he's probably he's like, remember to edit that part out. Okay. So,
this is the first, by the way.
Oh,
this has never happened.
But it's so good. I love asking these questions. Okay. So, I've known you for probably 2 years now. And I know you're an East Tulsa kid, and
East Tulsa. What is that?
Did you go? You grew up in East? You went to East Central, right?
No. I went to Sand Springs.
Oh, you went to Sand Springs.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, let's start over again. Edit that part out. Okay. So so you went to Sand Springs. Yes. But I remember you telling me about who the hell did I think went to lived in East Tulsa. I'm so sorry. I thought you went to East Central.
No.
But no, just kind of what I admire that you are a young go-getter.
I appreciate that.
And you've built this business, and I'm following your Instagram and your social media. You've kind of gone through a lot. But one of the things that I always love about you is you always stay so positive, and how do you have so much motivation? What keeps you going?
Man, I am a big believer that faith and fear are the same exact thing. So we can both get up and leave this session and go back to our office, and we can either say, hey, I'm going back, I'm going to get a lot of work done, it's going to be a great day, and I'm going to wrap up today, go back home, right? Or you can go back and say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it back to my office safe. I might get in a car wreck. What if I get back and then there's a bunch of fires I have to put out and I don't get anything done today? No matter what you think on those two things, you can't control what's going to happen. Whatever life's going to throw at you, you are going to have to adapt to the new environment that you're put in order to be able to keep on moving in this life, whether that's thriving, whether that's failing, whether that's whatever. So for me, I think your mindset is it's so strong that I always, like, whenever I rupture my Achilles this year, like, the first thing that went through my head was, when is the next time I'm going to walk? But then I was just like, no, I don't even care about that. When is the next time I'm going to run? So like I completely just went like 100 after that. And then all I could focus was like being thankful of like the things that I could do. I'm like, well, at least I can, use my arms. And so I think it's kind of like a habit, like you talked about. It's being able to start those small habits, and, whether that's waking up and just saying one thing that you're thankful for. And then I think you're putting yourself into an environment where you're constantly thinking positively, and then whether good things happen or good things or bad things happen, it's your choice how you respond to it. So that's how I do it.
And then how do you, like, I was like, I don't think you're not 30 yet, are you?
No, I will be next month.
That's
why I'm running a full marathon right before. I'm like, I got to do something.
Yeah. So like you're about to close the chapter of your 20s, and like,
thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like, I'm 41. So
dude, and you don't look it. You look my age or younger.
Well, it's because I'm heavily medicated, and then I bathe in the blood of my enemies, and so it keeps me.
That's definitely being a good person and putting egos.
I know, right? Yeah. No. What was it? No, but like now embarking into your 30s, like what do you foresee? Like, do you live your life like having these expectation goals that you want to achieve, like now, like walking into your 30s, or do you feel like, because I would say that your age group, it's kind of like a dying breed of go-getters. Like I feel like it becomes less and less of like working hard, and now it's more expectation, Mm-hmm. Not dogging on anyone about that, but it's just
99% of
yeah, but just kind of like walking into this now, like, how do you foresee what your 30s look like?
Man, now that I'm a father, my mindset has changed a little bit too, just because I was always very conscious of time. I used to always tell people that money can't bring happiness, but it kind of can, because money can buy what true happiness can be, which is a currency that's more valuable than money, which is time, right? If you don't want to mow your lawn, you can pay somebody to give you 2 hours of your time back. So now that I have a kid, he's 6 months old, I don't think you truly realize how fast time moves until you see this thing because like you and I you said we've known each other for 2 years. Let's put that for 20 years. We don't really recognize the changes that are going on every single day if we're seeing each other very often. But in a little kid, you can't not see how big they're getting. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like time is just getting, it's just leaving us. So one of the things that I always think about is, and one of my biggest fears really, is dying, getting to heaven, and being introduced to the person that I could have been. It's like, hey, this is William, and this is 100% of what you could have been, and you only reached 80%. You only reached 70%, or even 90%. So I think going into my 30s, I want to make sure that anything that I remotely even want to do, like this whole marathon thing, like I've been saying now for a couple of years now, I'm like, I just want to get a marathon done. Like less than 0.05% of Americans have done one, and less than 0.01% of people in the entire world have done one. So that kind of motivates me, but I don't want to take the time to like train and all this stuff. So, and then everybody has their own excuses, right? I have my own, and people have their own. So I think it's me being like, well, if I wait any longer, I don't know if I'll have that opportunity. And I don't want that to be the part of the percentage of the person that I could have been. And what's driving that is for what my kid is going to be looking up to. So I think that in this next chapter, it's going to be driven a lot by what example I'm setting for Maverick. So
yeah, like for me, living in my 30s, like living in my 20s I always felt self-conscious about like the person I was going to be. And then in my 30s, I was living life of just being, living life as what I am. and then realizing the things that I hate about myself. And then now living in my 40s, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, no, I'm going to bless you that in your 30s, the next thing in your life will be a triathlon. So
this guy is just making me commit to all these things on this episode.
I know this episode's already wrapping because it goes to no signal up there behind me.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, that's like my picture went away. Okay, last thing I'm gonna ask. This is my last and final question for you. You are a foodie.
Yes.
I was like, I've never seen someone eat so much kava in my life, but you are a foodie. What is the one type of food that you do not enjoy?
Man, that's a hard one. You know, growing up in Mexico, I grew up really poor and we didn't have anything to eat. So like anything that was in front of me, like I would eat it. But I'm just trying to think what doesn't sound good whenever I'm hungry. I don't like to eat like fast food, like Burger King. Like that sounds kind of gross to me. Like McDonald's, I'll eat maybe like fries and like their chicken, but I wouldn't eat like their burger.
Okay.
That's probably what I don't like. That kind of grosses me out a little bit.
Oh, okay. That's good. I was thinking you were going to say like, oh, I'm not a big into vegan food or anything like that.
No, pure foods, I like it.
I love vegan food.
Yeah,
I think it's really, really good. What was it? Next time, I'm gonna have to recommend, like, if you're a traveler, like, I actually don't think you're much of a traveler, are you?
Yeah, I've been to in the past. So my wife was born in Canada and I was born in Mexico, and we've been to about 43 states together. But
okay.
Last year, I mean, I haven't traveled in a while because after I had my surgery and then had a kid and everything kind of, came all at once. But last year, I mean, I was probably every month I was going somewhere last year.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I love trying new foods and stuff.
Well, if next time you're like in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, I have to tell you about this one restaurant that you have to go stop by. It's really,
I
really
love
good.
Scottsdale too.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's really good. It's in the Four Seasons. It's real bougie.
There we go.
That's love language to me, is like bougie restaurant experiences.
There we go.
Okay, sorry for asking so many questions.
No, you're good. There's a first for everything, right? I appreciate you coming on, man. If we're gonna have you on again, we're gonna have to schedule it now for you to come in 2026 or something.
Okay,
since it took so long. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Tony, for coming on.
Thanks, Will.
TLP.